Okay, so I've been having issues with the recording. Um, this is part two of why I became a Jehovah's Witness. Basically, I think that's what it's called. I'll definitely put it in the title. Um, but my eyes are in so much pain. Um, and I know it has to do with the environment we live in. Um, Definitely too much screen time, and I can't see like I used to be able to. So that sucks. I am hopeful, however, that there is natural ways to cure it. It's just the billionaires are constantly wrecking our lives and trying to kill us. So, anyways, ah, I hate when that happens. Yeah, so I had put my finger over the phone. That's what I was talking about. So, I was 14 years old, is where I left off, and I just wanted to learn about God, and I did not want to be involved with Jehovah's Witnesses. Um, you know, I wasn't trying to make it personal for them. I just, they think ridiculous things like that you're somehow attacking their faith because you don't want to be um, involved in their religion, and that's completely delusional. You know, you believe what you want to believe, but don't try and force other people to do it. They gaslight people a lot. So, anyways, um, another problem that might occur with this recording is that it cuts off at 26 minutes. So, just for my sanity's sake, I could put a lot more effort into it, but I've put a lot of effort into my life already, so I may have to make a part 3 and 4, but I'll try not to. So, anyways, um, yeah, when I was 14, I just wanted to learn about God, and that's all I was interested in. I just wanted to learn. I just want to learn everything. And most people aren't like that. Most people are just, they just do what they're told without looking into it first to make sure they're not making a bad decision. And you see that, with many different cults. The like the COVID cult, um, and it's a bad thing. People just mindlessly following what other people are telling them to do. It could be anybody, but basically government or religion saying, "Oh, you should do this medical whatever because it shows you're Christian, it shows love for your neighbor and bullcrap like that." But it's like, no, you do what's right for you. Like, my whole life I've been like, why the freak are people so insistent that I live life the way they want? I mean, like, most of my life I've lived it as a supposed Christian, so I just try and be as honest as possible about everything. So, um, I was taught to to be a Jehovah's Witness, whatever that means. And so, I didn't have sex for 30 years. Didn't do a lot of things. And, you know, I never wanted to be married. I never wanted to accept that things are just the way they are. That they can be changed. You just have to want to change them. And, I'm exhausted and put out by government and religion. There's literally no incentive for me to listen to any of them. Some might say, well, if you don't obey the law, you'll go to jail. Exactly, no incentive. If you don't obey the law, you might get shot in the process. Exactly, no incentive. It's always comply or die or get injured or have your time stolen away from you that makes up your life. That's an assault on humanity. Like, as long as you're not hurting people mentally or physically, there's no problem there. But yeah, so many people think they know better. So many people think that their cause is more worthwhile than yours, and it's like they can't prove it, but they just want to keep saying it. Like, I was telling this one lady in the mall yesterday that I was injured, like injection injured at the age of 5, and she's like, no, you weren't. And I was like, excuse you? um, and she was like, trying to act like, I haven't known people that have died from taking the current injection and have gotten sick from it. I was like, yes, I have. I've known many of them. I host Facebook groups, that, I help people out with Facebook groups that talk about this very thing. And it's just so insane. It's like, it's hard to describe. People will believe what the news media tells them, but not what reality is. And so, and to them, they think the news media is reality. It's like, why would they lie? They love us. Like, seriously? So, like, it's like they obviously don't listen to all the news, because there's even times where the news is honest and the news comes out and says, oh yeah, there have been people that have died from the injection and have gotten serious illnesses. And it's like basically constant confusion, because one moment the news will say, oh, that's not true, which I don't know. I haven't necessarily heard them say it's not true, but a lot of people misunderstand the word conspiracy and the word theory. So, conspiracy means that someone or a group of people are conspiring against one person or multiple people. And the government is. The government's conspiring against us. And so has religion. They tell you what you want to hear, tickle your ears. And, wow, I feel really sick. Sorry, I'm trying to get back on track. So, yeah, I was telling this lady in the mall about my own personal experiences, and, I've seen, like, what people look like after they get the injection. And it's like, oh my god, I have never seen those kind of reactions. It's usually just mental damages that I see when people get injected. I don't see, like, scabs on them, these weird things I've never seen on a human body before, ever. Yeah, and like, even if you haven't got injected, you've been around people that have been injected. If you're not careful, you could get spike proteins on you. So, anyways, yeah, I'll try to hone back in on the being 14. So when I was 14, oh, I just wanted to learn about God, and Jehovah's Witnesses were so oppressive with what they wanted me to learn instead. And, I thought they'd leave me alone when I became an unbaptized publisher. And it was like, nope. They just kept pushing for me to do more and more and more and more. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just one person. What do you want from me? You want my soul? Like, I didn't even really get to think about that at the time. Do they want my soul? But now that I'm out and I'm able to think and share my thoughts with others and not be criticized for it. And if I am criticized, I'm like, bye. Not talking to you again, because what's the point of, like, basically telling me I'm stupid or I'm dumb? Like, people just say stuff and they have no evidence of this. They just say crazy things. And I'm like, I'm telling you my thoughts. So, why do you have a problem with that? Anyways. So, I remember my mom saying to me, if you don't go out and field service enough, if you don't get the national or whatever the freak it was, it kept changing requirement, like 10 or 12 hours a month, you're gonna become considered inactive. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, does she not realize she's putting too much pressures on her own son? She didn't care. Yeah, it was my mom. It's the reason I was involved in the religion. My dad's been inactive most of my life, which I used to think was bad because they brainwashed you. It's so perfectly set up. You're not allowed to spend time with people outside of the religion. And if you do, and even if you don't necessarily spend time with other people outside the religion, if you're not going to the meetings enough, or you're not doing this or that enough, or you're not going out field service enough, spam risk, really interesting. I wonder if I could answer the call while I'm on. Maybe I can. I don't want to try it. I mess up the not live video. Mess up the recording. Maybe. So then, when I was 18, I was working at Sam's Club, and there's a lot more to be said about that. But just for the whole, like, why I became a Jehovah's Witness video, I'll keep it simple for now. But the Jehovah's Witnesses already were shopping there, and they would come in, and because I was born in the Jehovah's Witnesses, as they would say, born in the truth, they would come in there and harass me. They would claim they were encouraging me, but it was harassment. I knew that at the time. But, it's like I knew it, but I couldn't put it all together, and I just didn't know how to deal with it mentally. So it eventually got to me, and I did start going to the meetings more again, and started, going out field service more again, and I wouldn't say I necessarily lost my job over it. It was just, it was a seasonal thing, but it was really crappy how they had me come up to the office to tell me that I was fired that day, and I didn't even do anything wrong. But yeah, from 14 to 18, I kind of passed by that, didn't I? I was just kind of flopping back and forth. I was trying to break free from the Jehovah's Witness religion, but they wouldn't leave me alone. So it was just kind of like that, I guess, maybe most of my life. There were some parts where, just to survive, mentally, I gave in to the brainwashing, and so that was like to 2005 when I was 18. Um, and then the next following years, kind of hard to remember at this point, but from 18 to 21, it was just a lot of, I guess, field service. Um, you know, still no education at this point because my parents didn't care. Um, still no car. So I moved out when I was 21, 2007, with my sister and my youngest sister. I have two sisters. And she and her husband claimed to want to help me accomplish my 3 goals: get a GED, get a driver's license, and get baptized, which I didn't really want to get baptized, but you know how it is, they're always pressuring you. So I went there, spent 4 years of my life I can never get back. It's just like my childhood and my teenage years were stolen. Even my 20s were stolen. But yeah, so I was like 25 when I finally came back to my parents. And, my sister and my brother-in-law didn't really help me out all that much. They more so used me more for the organization of Jehovah's Witnesses, the governing body. It just got worse when I moved in with them. It was supposed to get better. It was more pressures to conform more, to be a Jehovah's Witness more, to go to all the meetings, to go out in field service more. I became an auxiliary pioneer, and then I became, like a regular pioneer, whatever they call it. From 50 hours a month to 70 hours a month, because the circuit overseer would not leave me alone. He was a pest. I was doing, what they call privileges, which are not actually privileges. Handling the mics. So I was trying to get the mics ready for the meeting, and he was interfering with that. He was pressuring me 3 times, basically. Kind of like asking and telling me, about pioneering. Like, you need to pioneer, basically. And, see, like, the first time, like, when he first interacted with me, he came up to me. This is all within one moment, right? Or whatever. Like, he didn't come up to me again. After this, it was just that one time. He comes up and he's like, "Why are you not pioneering?" And I'm like, thinking to myself, well, why are you not a nice person? you like, it's none of your business why I'm not pioneering. Like, so, at the time, I just kind of was like, well, I wasn't much of a thinker because I wasn't allowed. It was just like, well, I have to get out on my own. I'm living with my sister and my brother-in-law. I have to be responsible for myself. And he says, living with your sister and brother-in-law, it's every reason for you to pioneer. And I'm like, what a moron. So, I said to him, I can't pioneer. And he's like, yeah, you can. There ain't no reason you can't pioneer. And I said, yes, there is. I need to be responsible for myself. I need to live on my own. And, I was careful what I told him, because this guy is gung-ho about the religion, and I'm not. I'm just trying to figure out what's really going on. you know, like I knew things weren't right for a long time. I knew that when my sister talked about me having old literature, oh, that's old, like, we don't use that anymore. I'm like, that's sketchy. That's a big red flag. Um, and she threw it away without my consent and gave some of it away to a pioneer sister. So it's really messed up, and that happened a while back before this event. I forget how old I was when the circuit overseer was harassing me about pioneering. So it was obvious at this point the circuit overseer wasn't going to leave me alone until he got what he wanted. And my brother-in-law would have been bullying me as well if I didn't comply, pretty much. Because how am I supposed to handle that? Like, I already told him, look, I can't do it, and he's just harassing me, bullying me, and I should have told him, look, you asked me a question, I answered it, that's all there is to it. And there would have been nothing wrong with me saying that, but he probably would have gone to my brother-in-law and been like, oh, can you believe what he said to me? So anyways, because I was just trying to comply long enough to just get out on my own and get away from these freaks. But, there was one of the elders that would constantly come and complain to my brother-in-law that I wasn't filling out the field service report correctly. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm not filling out a dumbass piece of paper I don't want to fill out in the first place correctly, that in a way that you like. I'm filling it out the best way I can. I'm not trying to intentionally upset anyone. I'm just trying to get through this bullshit and get on with my real life. So, and so I can't remember. I think it was between 2009 2010. I had a fairly decent job that if I just had a little more time to save up, I could have, used that job to break away. But my job was narcissistic as well. My employer was like a cult also. So, can you imagine living in two cults? So it's kind of like I had two jobs. One I was getting paid terribly for. The other one, being a Jehovah's Witness, I wasn't being paid at all. So, and so I would estimate that I was spending like 100 hours a month being a Jehovah's Witness, basically. Going out in field service, going to the meetings, and 70 hours a month out in field service. Being a pioneer, I was pressured into being a pioneer, and I had to cut my hours at work. That typical bull crap you do, like before you get hired or after you get hired. I did it after I got hired. That I waited a little bit to prove myself before I told them about the conventions that we would have. I'd have to go to. And my sister and my brother-in-law, they kept ending giving me a car. That I think I had. I know I definitely had it when I was 22, and I had it up until towards the end, I think, of 2009, and they forced me into getting a car that was a piece of crap, because they were like, if you don't get this car, even though you've been working your ass off, they had no idea I was planning on leaving Jehovah's Witnesses, but because I didn't tell them about it. But I was working my ass off to leave Jehovah's Witnesses. I was trying to be spiritual enough in their eyes, and at the same time work enough to save up money to leave. And they were supposed to sign over the car to me that I was using, because it was a gift from a lady my sister cleaned houses for to help me out. but my sister never signed it over to me. She always had excuses as to why she didn't do it. Like, oh, the car insurance cheaper because, you're still not 25 yet, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so stupid. So, anyways, I saved $2,000, and, like, I was just in between a rock and a hard place. I mean, the only people I was allowed to know were Jehovah's Witnesses, so I didn't have very many good options of places to go and live, until I could figure things out. So, yeah, I need a place to live, I need a car to drive to work, so, what am I going to do? So, this $2,000 that it took great discipline to save up for 10 weeks just got blown away because of them being evil and wanting to control me. Okay, it's at 26 minutes. Probably gonna cut off soon. I hope it doesn't, because that would just suck. Because I'm almost to the end of the story. I mean, of course, there's always gonna be more. I'm just telling you like the overview of what happened. So, anyways, my plans to move out of Jehovah's Witnesses was sabotaged. And, to get away from my sister and my brother-in-law, I was actually going to use the money to help me get a place. And I would have been better off getting my own place, but I ended up getting a place that my employer